Hello viewers, today we're going to be repairing this Napoleon NPS40 pellet stove. This does not start by itself anymore, you have to manually build the fire. The igniter has failed, but it failed because the thermal switch failed. So I've got new components here. I've got a new temperature sensor switch, and I've got a new igniter. The old one had like a very eventful electrical failure. I don't know if it shorted or went to ground or whatever it did, but you can see the white haze on there from the explosion that took place. So I believe this should be fairly simple. To get to it, we're going to have to remove the side panel here. Looks like it's missing two of the screws. I never put them back on. I guess that would make sense if they just have to come back off again anyways. Normally they would be at all four corners, and once the screws are off, you have to pay attention to the damper. This has to pull out through the damper, and your control board will stay on the front. You could remove it if you want to, but there's really no need to in this case. Just gotta turn it upside down so the wires have enough slack. I'm just gonna set it there like that, and that's fine. I'm gonna remove the fan for the sake of ease of the repair. It'll make it much easier if the fan isn't there. The fan is move you over a little bit. The fan is held on with 4 bolts, each on the outside corner. I gotta go get the bolt driver for that. This is a total pain in the neck to remove because the angle of the screws is just difficult to get at. There's just one on each of the 4 corners. This one here in the back is the worst. Worst to get on and to get off. What the heck did I do this last time? I must have had a different, I had something else. Something with a longer tip. I'm gonna look around and see what I can come up with something better than this. I turned the fan, I took all the other screws out and I turned the fan down a bit, and now I'm kind of getting it, but this is a joke. I've had this thing out before to clean it, so I don't understand how I did it, but it wasn't this bad. Unbelievable. I don't know why. Design. I'm not putting that screw back on. That's stupid. It'll just have 3 screws. Alright, so this here is our thermal switch, which we gotta remove. You're even able to see this. Geez, all these screws are really tight on here. They've probably never been taken off. Wow. The screws are super annoying. They don't, like, they're done threading, but they still don't come out. Stupid. All these angles are horrible to work with. This is killing my hand here. I actually expected this to be a lot easier. But this is not being easy at all. Let's see if I can get the drill in there instead. We need a, let's see. It's a 1/4. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so here's the problem. An old thermal disc is just shot, crumbled apart. Not good. So we got a new one here. I had a new one here. Where did it go? Here we go. A new one. And this just goes right back the way the other one was. Just like that. Very easy. Alright, that's in place. Now, the wiring, we have, let's see here. I had to disconnect this because I needed to run the stove without it. Ideally, I would have preferred to just leave it connected so I had a reference point. But the way this works is this red wire goes on to here, and then the high side of, well, I don't think that it is labeled, but it would go, the igniter goes on there and then over in the back there. But we got to get the igniter out so we can swap it. And this is another horrible angle to work on. Well, at least this screw turns nicely. And there is a little gasket here, which I don't believe my new igniter came with. Oh, it didn't. So I want to try to preserve that gasket as much as I can, because I don't have another one on hand. Yeah, I mean, there's some bits of the gasket, but nothing crazy there. So, oh wow. Yikes. That's a pretty drastic failure. Okay, well, let's get the new one in there. I'm going to stop and take a photograph here just so you can see the difference. I'll put it in the video. It got so hot at the end that it actually shrunk. That's crazy. That was getting really hot at some point. Okay, I got the new igniter here. I'm gonna slip this in. Looks like it fits correctly. And just the one screw to secure it in place. Really, other than the screw challenges here, this is pretty simple to work on. All these parts are relatively user serviceable. Okay, that's good. So now electrically, one side of it will go onto the thermal switch here. Oh boy, we got an electrical problem. These clips are not correct. It needs to have it's got to have the female end like these do, but it doesn't. It's got the male side. So well, since I don't have time to get a different one, I think I'm just gonna cut the wires apart and replace the plugs with these other ones. Now, of course, the so-called correct way to do it is probably to take shrink tubing to this with solder, or even just buy new clips and put them on. But we're working in a no-budget situation where it's about to get cold. So it's do this or be cold. I'm doing this. This wire's a pain in the neck to work with. Oh, cut a few of the strands. Let's start again. Alright, that time was good. Okay, there we go. Now we have the right plugs. I'll put one side on to the switch, and the other side goes over to here. And this pipe here is the air intake, so that does not get hot, so the wires can sit up against there and it doesn't matter. Okay, that should be it. So let's put everything back together and see how it works. I just swapped out the fan with a new one because it was getting a little noisy. Put it back on. I only used the 3 screws. I think that's adequate. Now I gotta go turn the breaker back on because something happened. Okay, so now the cover will just go back on. The only thing we have to really pay attention to is the damper going through there like that. And I'm only going to put the top 2 screws in, or actually I'm only going to put this one screw in over here just until we know that it works. Because if I have to undo it again, just make it a little bit easier. Okay, so now we'll put the burn pit back. We got a new igniter here that looks copacetic. A couple of pellets in there. And we should see the center of that glow red hot once it gets going, if it's working properly. We have success. The igniter is on. Now it's got to make sure that it shuts off after the flame is there. And what I'll do is I'll put a meter on the power draw so we can see how much power it's drawing, and then when the igniter shuts off it should decrease significantly. And then if that checks out, we'll be all set here. It started at 4 amps, now I just heard it click and now it's down 1.9. And now the feeder motor just turned on for a minute. Down to 1.7 and stable. So the igniter is off. So this is working properly, and well, all things considered, the repair was pretty simple.